dizziness, headache, tinnitus, edema, GI bleeding, dyspepsia, nausea, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, constipation, diarrhea, increased liver function tests, hematuria, renal failure, exfoliative dermatitis, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, toxic epidermal necrolysis, rash, anemia, anaphylaxis. What am I talking about? Stay tuned to find out. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the CBD YOU podcast. And yes, you means you, and I believe you are here for a reason. I'm Lori, a Christian, a wife, a mama, and a midwife. And to put a little icing on the cake, my husband and I own a hemp farm in Tennessee. Girlfriend, I see it in your eyes, and I feel it in the messages you send me. You are tired of waking up every day exhausted with aches and pains that you really thought you were too young for. And with all the stress and anxiety of the day, you're over it. Are you starting to wonder if this is really all life is? I hear you, and you are not alone. God did not design us to just survive. He designed us to thrive. So if you're ready to embrace this beautiful life God has given you by discovering some of His best gifts for His children, rewarm that coffee you forgot about in the microwave, and let's take a minute to pour back into you with a quick chat and some me time. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. So that list of all that stuff I just read is pretty creepy. And if you're wondering what I was talking about, I was reading out of Davis's Pocket Clinical Drug Reference, and I was reading about ibuprofen or other non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. That's just the list of adverse drug reactions. I actually stopped before I got into the interactions of all the different things it can do to your other medications you're taking and how it can make them less effective. This is what you're taking when you are using conventional non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications. Let me just read you a little bit from the FDA's website about these drugs. Allergy alert. Ibuprofen may cause a severe allergic reaction, especially in people allergic to aspirin. Symptoms may include hives, facial swelling, asthma, wheezing, shock, skin reddening, rash, or blisters. NSAIDs may cause stomach bleeding. The chance is higher if you're 60 or older, have had stomach ulcers in the past, or bleeding problems in the past, or you're taking blood thinners, if you're taking other NSAIDs, if you have 3 or more alcoholic drinks each day, and so many other things. It goes on and on and on. Okay, let's go down a little more. Stop using if you feel faint, if you vomit blood, if you have black or bloody stools, as these are signs of stomach bleeding. That means that this causes stomach bleeding, and it could cause it so badly that you're actually having an internal bleed and you need medical attention. Does that sound like something you want to sign up for? Not me. But that's actually not the bulk of what I want to talk about today. Those reasons are plenty not to use these medications, but the impact that they have on our gut health is really what I want to talk about today. Gut health is this big buzzword. Many people use it these days, but few people understand it. So we're going to dive into that a little bit today so you can understand what it means to your health and you can understand how these medications impact it so that you can make a good decision for your own health. It's an important concept for you to grasp. It impacts essentially all of your health, including your mind. It can even impact conditions like depression and anxiety. People think that, if they have an upset stomach or gut problems, that it's just their guts, but it's not. It impacts everything. Many allergies and sensitivities have been improved or even cured by correcting gut microbiome imbalances. And we'll talk about what a microbiome is in just a minute. These imbalances are tied to inflammation in the body. And as we know, inflammation can impact so many different things. So, but basically, think about the gut as the brain of the immune system. We're going to talk about why. So what is the gut? Simply put, it's the organs that make up your digestive system. It houses bajillions of bacteria. Bajillions is a super fancy scientific word that means a whole lot. Okay, so bacteria to many people just means germs. It's things that make you sick. They often get a bad rap. But without bacteria, humans could not survive. So that word microbiome refers to this beautiful symphony of microorganisms that live in us or on us. The gut microbiome are the ones that live in the digestive tract. So there are bacteria, viruses, fungi, other microbes. They can be good or they can be bad. But the goal here is for there to be more than enough good ones so that when the bad ones, which are called pathogenic, when they find their way in, you can fight them off properly. We actually get our first big exposure to these microorganisms, which will build our microbiome during birth. If that's something that interests you, I'll be diving deep into those kind of topics in a new podcast I've got coming out called Your Birth God's Way. It's coming soon. I don't know the exact launch date yet, but it will be soon, so just be listening for more information on that. But the short version is that vaginal birth is this divinely created way to enter the world that exposes our system to a wealth of these good bacteria that begin to colonize us, which just means kind of build their world inside of us to build this foundation of our immune system and our ability to properly digest nutrition. Side note, when you have a C-section, it kind of bypasses this first exposure. We'll talk about that, like I said, in this other podcast. But back to NSAIDs, which are non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Using these medications adversely impacts the balance of your gut microbiome. So one study revealed that users of NSAIDs had a different gut microbiome than non-users. Different types of the NSAIDs had different impacts. A lot of times these are given in combination with other drugs called proton pump inhibitors or H2 antagonists, and both of those are drugs that are given to treat heartburn and reflux disease. And people who took these drugs in combination with the NSAIDs had a different microbiome than the ones who took nothing or who just took the NSAIDs. Then the study also looked at those who took them in combination with laxatives or antidepressants, and they had still yet another different microbiome. So this shows that all these different medications do impact our gut health and our gut balance. So that doesn't even touch on antibiotics, which antibiotics, against biotics, which is the living organisms. And yes, antibiotics do kill the bad bacteria, but they also kill the good ones, especially usually early in disease when you're often given broad spectrum. Broad spectrum is exactly what it sounds like. It kills a lot of things. So it kills the bad with the good. And as you can imagine, that greatly impacts the balance of your gut health. So what are we to do? Okay, we have pain, we have inflammation, we have all these issues. What are you supposed to do? We got to look for better options, especially for long-term use. So a healthy alternative for anti-inflammatories, as you might imagine, is CBD oil, because it works in tandem with this system called the endocannabinoid system, which works to improve bodily inflammation. So what, you may ask, is the side effect profile of CBD? Do you remember that long list of side effects that I read off at the beginning of this podcast? Well, one of those was the word anaphylaxis. And anaphylaxis means basically an allergic reaction that can lead to death. So what have they done to study the impacts or the potential fatal impacts of CBD? Well, one study was looking at monkeys and trying to figure out how much CBD would it take to kill them. What they found was it would take about 200 milligrams per kilogram to kill those monkeys. So let's do just a little bit of math to apply this to a human. Let's say your average 150-pound female is actually 68 kilograms if you do the math to convert into kilograms. So 68 kilograms times 200 milligrams equals 13,600 milligrams. So if that math is true, what it took to kill the monkeys, which was 200 milligrams per kilogram, that would take you drinking almost 7 bottles of our strongest CBD oil at once. That's a lot of CBD. Our recommended dose is actually closer to somewhere between maybe 15 to 25 milligrams, depending on your condition and your body weight and things like that. And that's the total dose, not per kilogram, the total dose. So you can see that the likelihood of reaching 200 milligrams per kilogram is pretty much impossible. Fatal cases that they have found in humans in the news have been tied to mislabeled CBD, fake CBD, tainted CBD, or using vaping cartridges, which we do not recommend because there's a lot of things in there besides the CBD, a lot of fillers and things like that that can make you very, very sick. So what does all this tell you? It is incredibly important if you're going to choose to use CBD that you know your source, so you know what you're actually getting. The beauty of Alera Ridge Farm is you're listening to your source right now. If you know me or you know Andrew, you know the company. Nothing leaves our hands at all from the seed all the way to the finished product. So I don't know how much closer to the source you can get than that. I encourage you to give it a try. You got nothing to lose. We do have a guarantee on the product. So if you don't like it or you don't think it works for you after using it in the recommended doses that I'm going to send you the little sheet that has all that on it. You send it back to us and you get your money back. The end. No questions asked, no hassling, no issues. And I want you to remember that right now, just for a limited time, you can actually try our CBD, anything you want to try, for 20% off. And remember, that's a limited time offer, and only the first 20 people who go to the store to purchase are going to get that. So the website that you're going to want to go to get that discount is bit.ly/CBD and you show. bit.ly/CBD and spell it and you show. When you go to that link, it should go ahead and put the promo code in your cart when you check out. But if it doesn't, just fill in CBD and you show as your promo code when you go to checkout, and it'll take care of it then. That code will also give you free shipping, so it'll take care of that. Okay. But remember, this is a limited offer. I don't want you to wait and miss out. The holidays this year could be some of the best ones you've ever had. Who's ready to head into the holidays with less pain, better sleep, less anxiety, able to just relax and chill and enjoy the holidays and not be hurting and exhausted and just tense and stressed? Let this be the year that you can head into the holidays excited and relaxed and just really embrace and enjoy your family. That's what we need, right? We need to enjoy these sweet people around us who we are entrusted to care for. So next week, I want to tell you right now about next week, because I've gone through all this telling you about the microbiome, all the bad things that you can get from all these medications. But next week, I want to talk to you about how to build that microbiome, okay? Because what good is it to just avoid the bad? We also want to build up the goods. So if you haven't already, be sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new episodes that are coming out every Monday from now until whenever. The end of time. I don't know. Look forward to seeing you next week. Hope y'all have a great week. Bye. Whoa, wait, stop. I need your help. Before you take off, if this podcast has blessed you in any way, or if you learned something, could you take 1 minute and leave me a written review over on Apple Podcasts? That's the absolute best way you can thank me. I love hearing how what I've learned on my journey has helped you on yours. Remember that the word says every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. CBD is one of them, but there are so many more. Cling to him and you will never go wrong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you back here in a few days.